Good evening, friends. You are most welcome to Think Eyes channel. Today we are discussing the ARC report and ethics in governance. Our second topic is ethical framework, ethics and politics. Any discussion on an ethical framework for governance in a democracy must necessarily begin with ethical values in politics. Politics and those engaged in it play a vital role in the legislative and executive wings of the state, whose acts of commission and omissions in working the constitution and the rule of law become the point of intervention for the judiciary. While it is realistic and simplistic to expect perfection in politics in an ethically imperfect environment, there is no denying the fact that the standards set in politics profoundly influence those in others aspects of governance. Those in politics have a clear and onerous responsibility, or we can say onerous responsibility, ONEROUS, onerous. Access in election, in campaign funding, use of illegitimate money, quantum of expenditure, imperfect electoral rolls, impersonation, booth capturing, violence, inducements, and intimidation. Floor crossing after election to get into power and abuse of power in public office became affliction, major affliction of the political process over the years. Political parties, governments, and more importantly, the Election Commission and the Supreme Court have taken several steps since the late 1980s in an attempt to eliminate the gross abuses that had virtually become the norm. Yet there is a widespread view that much more needs to be done to cleanse CLEA and SE, cleanse our political system along with that of corruption. This issue was raised in every public hearing held by the Commission during its visits to the states. Criminalization of politics, participation of criminals in the electoral process is the soft underbelly of our political system. The growth of crime and violence in society, to the point of encouraging mafia in many sectors, is due to a number of root causes: flagrant violation of laws, poor quality of services and the corruption in them, protection of lawbreakers in political group, class, communal or caste grounds, partisan interface, partisan interference in investigation of crimes and poor prosecution of cases, inordinate delays lasting over years and high courts in judicial process, mass withdrawal of cases, indiscriminate grant of parole, etc. are the more important of the causes. Large illegal and illegitimate expenditure in elections is another root cause of corruption. While there are formal limits to expenditure and some steps have been put in place in an attempt to check them, in reality, actual expenditure is alleged to be far higher. Abnormal election expenditure has to be recouped, recouped in multiples to sustain the electoral cycle. This results in unavoidable and ubiquitous corruption, altering the nature of the political and administrative power and undermining trust and democracy. Cleansing elections is the most important route to improve ethical standards in politics, to curb corruption and rectify maladministration or malpractices. Recent improvements, despite all the flaws in the functioning of the democracy, it has a measure of self correction. As stated earlier, significant efforts have been made over the last 2 decades to bring about meaningful electoral reforms. Some have observed that the past decade has seen more political reforms in India than in any other large democracy after the Second World War. Briefly stated, the more important of the reforms relate to improvement in accuracy of electoral rolls. First is Election Commission has made efforts to make voter registration more accessible to voter and involve to some extent post office in revision of electoral rolls. Second is printed electoral rolls or CDs have been made available for sale. Third is computerization of entire electoral rolls of over 620 million voters has been initiated. Fourth is the provision of photo identity cards for all voters has been started. Next part is disclosure of antecedents of candidates. A part is the Supreme Court has directed that a candidate should declare any conviction by a court or whether a criminal case is pending against him. B is the direction to file a declaration of assets and liabilities of a candidate and family members would enable a check that the time of the next elections. The direction to file a declaration of assets and liabilities of the candidate and family members would enable a check at the time of the next election. Next part is disqualification of person convicted of criminal offence. A part is the Supreme Court ruled in 2005 that Section 8 Clause 4 of the Representation of the People's Act was unconstitutional as it violated equality before law. Now all convicted candidates stand at an election on the same footing whether at the time of conviction they were incumbent legislators or not. However, during the term of a legislator, exemption from disqualification does apply if an appeal is pending and sentence is stayed. Enforcement of code of conduct. A part is using its overall powers to superintend, control and direct. Using its overall powers to superintend, control and direct elections under Article 324 of the Constitution, the Election Commission has made the Code of Conduct for elections binding in all respects, issuing directions regarding timings of campaigns, prohibition of festoons and cutouts, insistence on daily expenditure statements, appointment of large number of observers, ordering of re-poll in specific polling booth and other such steps. Free and fearless polling. A party's policing arrangements have been improved, including greater use of central forces and holding of elections for more than one day in a state and measures like stealing of borders, etc. Second is electronic voting machines have been introduced throughout the country in the parliamentary election of 2004. Third is it has been decided that the death of an independent candidate would not lead to the cancellation of an election. Reduction in size of Council of Ministers. A part is a recommendation to restrict the size to 10% was made by the first Administrative Reform Commission more than 3 decades ago. The Constitution 91st Amendment Act 2003 restricts the size of the Council of Ministers to 15% of the strength of the lower house in parliament or state legislature. The amendment is a step towards moderating the number of ministers to some extent. Issues in political reforms. Despite the measures taken, improvements are marginal in the case of important problems of criminalization, the use of money in elections, subtle forms of inducements and patronage in the form of chairmanship and members of public units, and the anomaly of legislators functioning as disguised executives More effective steps have therefore been suggested, and the Commission would like to deal with the more important of them. A part is reform of political funding. In India, one of the sources of funding of political parties has been through private donations. Internationally, there are three broad patterns of state funding for political parties and elections. One is the minimalist pattern, wherein election alone are partially subsidized, usually through specific grants or state rendered services. Candidates are accountable to the public authority for observance, reporting, and disclosure of expenditure for the limited election period. The United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada are examples of this pattern, while the US is a variant of the same, with election funding being largely private and subjected to strict reporting and disclosure requirements as well as limits on contributions. The second maximalist pattern of state funding involves public funding not merely for election but even for other party activities, as in Sweden and Germany. This pattern involves less detailed regulation of contribution and expenditure because parties are dependent largely on state support and local requirement enforce internal democracy as well as general transparency. In between, there are a variety of mixed patterns involving partial reimbursement for public funding of elections on a matching grant basis, such as in France, Netherlands, and South Korea. In between, there are a variety of mixed patterns involving partial reimbursement for public funding of elections on a matching grant basis, such as France, Netherlands, and South Korea. While the Representation of the People Act puts limit on election expenditure, company donation to political party were banned in 1969 but later allowed by an amendment of the Companies Act in 1985. The Dinesh Goswami Committee on Electoral Reform, set up in 1990, recommended limited support in kind for vehicle fuel, higher charges of microphones, copies of electoral rolls, etc., while simultaneously recommending a ban on company donation. Subsequent developments include parties being forced to file return under the Income Tax and Wealth Tax Act after the Supreme Court issued notice, and also passed an order on 4th April 1996 which effectively repealed Explanation 1 of Section 77 of the Representation of People Act and clubbed expenditure by third parties as well as by the political party under the expenditure ceiling limits prescribed under the Representation of Peoples Act. Another committee, the Indrajit Gupta Committee on the State Funding of the Elections, has recommended partial state funding mainly in kind. However, the National Committee for Review of the Constitution has expressed the view that until better regulatory mechanism for political parties can be developed in India, state funding of elections should be deferred. Parliament in 2003 unanimously enacted the Election and Other Related Laws Amendment Act in a spirit of bipartisanship. The Act contains the following key provisions: full tax exemption to individuals and corporates on all contribution to political parties, effective repeal of Explanation 1 under Section 77 of the Representation of Peoples Act. Expenditure by third parties and political parties now comes under ceiling limits, and only travel expenditures of leaders of the parties is exempt. Disclosure of the party finances and contributions over 20,000 rupees. Indirect public funding to candidates of recognized party, including free supply of electoral rolls already in vogue. and such items as the election commission decides in consultation with the union government, equitable sharing of time by the recognized political parties on the cable television network and other electronic media, public and private. Thus, as stated by second ARC, in order to eradicate the major source of political corruption, there is a compelling case for state funding of elections as recommended by the Indrajit Gupta Committee on state funding of elections. The funding should be partial state funding, mainly in kind for certain essential items. B parties tightening